Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Adaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Adaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Vishnu Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Astutara Shatasi Singha Srila Vaicharana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Beauty Founder Acharya is Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Beauty Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Samvada Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Patkari Srotakari Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. Sri Bhagavan Krishna Chandra Ki Jai. Samveda Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Prahladananda Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Nice to hear from you. Hare Krishna Kamanya Prabhu. Somen Prabhu. Mother Padma Devi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam. Charles, you are still in Miami or you are back?
Yes, Prabhu, I'm still in Miami till tomorrow morning.
Okay. Seems like you are exploring Miami Temple. That's good.
Yes, yes, you see my new symbol.
Nice tilak.
Thank you.
Did you just painted it or tattoo?
No, it's tattoo.
Oh, that's scary on the throat. Wow.
It's Om Govindaya Nama, correct? This one? I think it's
Yeah.
Om Govindaya
Om
Nama.
Keshavaya Namo, Narayana Namo, Madhavaya Namo, Govindaya Namo. Govindaya Namo on the neck. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's fine. That's fine. They put the name there or just the tilak?
No, just the tila.
Okay. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Okay, so who would like to read today? We're going to do Mangalacharan and then one of you can read. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Genanjana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurube Namo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nittam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki mukhaṁ karati vācālam pangulangayati girim jatkripatamaham vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So anyone, any volunteer to read today's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text 15.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
I'm number 15 of chapter 8. Chapter 8 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as it is titled as Attaining the Supreme.
Yes.
Text number 15 is Mam Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalayam asasvatam napnuvanti mahatmanah samsiddhim paramam gataha. Word to word. Mam, me, upetya, achieving, punah, again, janma, birth, dukhalayam, place of miseries, asasvatam, temporary, na, never, apnuvanti, attained, mahatmanah, the great souls, samsiddhim, perfection, paramam, ultimate, gataha, having achieved. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this material, to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. In the purpose, Prabhupada writes, since this temporary material world is full of miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death, naturally, he who achieves the highest perfection and attains the supreme planet, Krishna Lok, Golok Vrindavan, does not wish to return. The supreme planet is described in Vedic literature as Avyakta and Akshara and Paramagati. In other words, that planet is beyond our material vision, and it is inexplicable, but it is the highest goal, the destination for the Mahatmas, great souls. The Mahatmas receive transcendental messages from the realized devotees and thus gradually develop devotional service in Krishna consciousness and become so absorbed in transcendental service that they no longer desire elevation to any of the material planets, nor do they even want to be transferred to any spiritual planet. They only want Krishna and Krishna's association and nothing else. That is the perfection, highest perfection of life. This verse specifically mentions the personality devotees of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. These devotees in Krishna consciousness achieve the highest perfection of life. In other words, they are the supreme souls.
Very nice. Thank you. So this verse, so far, what we read in this chapter, beginning with what do you do at the moment of death, and then why death is so important. And then we discuss when we love the Lord more than the world, then He takes us out of the world. So we have to develop love for Him. And also combination of inner recollection and outer contribution nourishes devotion. We also discussed that. And text 14, last week we discussed spiritual evolution is best energized by devotional elevation. We also discuss that we should fix our mind on Krishna. And if we do, is the labor for fixing the mind. Now, in the process, we go through a lot of pain, struggle, and we should see those pain or struggle as a protector and pointer. And then we discuss also the world is a place for treatment. I hope we all can remember this every day. Not enjoyment. This world is not made for enjoyment. This world is made for treatment. Like you go to hospital. Hospital is not a matchmaker place or, finding your spouse or something. I don't know if that happens. I hope it's not. But somebody told me, that's why I'm bringing that point. That, I met this person in the hospital and we thought we'll have a wonderful time, but then it didn't work out. I say hospital is not a place for enjoyment. Hospital, you go for a treatment or taking care, rejuvenate and come out of it. So material world right now, especially this planet, is not for enjoyment. It's just to get out after treatment is over. And also we discuss, we are discussing today that how the great soul, how they attain Krishna in devotion. And once they attain Krishna in devotion, they never return to this world. This world is temporary and misery, both. Alloy is like a place where, like Oshodalay, alloy, place where you find Oshad or medicine. Similarly, Dukkhalay means where you find Dukkha. Nobody wants it, but they're being forced to get it. So, Dukkhalayam Shashvatam section of it, yes, this world is a temporary and place of misery. This is exactly opposite to the idea posted by the movies and novels, especially Disney movie. I remember every Disney movie ends with happily, live happily ever after. So children is mostly children movie I'm talking. And children movie from Disneyland, it doesn't give any idea that they have to do some sadhana or this is a treatment place, hospital, not like this. It's like happily live ever after. You just have to find out that your destiny and then you go. So happily ever after is exactly opposite what we see, what Krishna says here. It is not happy. It is ashashvatam. There is no ever after in this world. You are forced to take any birth that karmana daivanetrena, that the demigods, through your karma, how you reacted and everything, you are forced to act on that. So it is exactly the opposite conception. And this is the focus of our quoting the verse normally. But let us look at a little more deeper. I was reading this verse today before the class. So Krishna is not making it as a declaration that I am declaring that this world is dukkhalayam shashvatam. He is just making it as a passing fact. Yes, it is taken for granted that this world is dukkhalayam shashvatam. But if you worship me, then you won't have to come to this world. And those who worship me, Krishna says, they don't have to take birth again. They will attain me, supreme destination, paramam gata. So from Bhagavad Gita perspective, that it is taken for granted that this world is dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. There is no need to argue and debate, and declare it is something which both, you can say, the conversation have accepted. It is like a doctor tells a person who is sick, if you take this treatment, then you will be discharged from the hospital. You don't have to come back to this miserable place. So there is no need to debate or discuss that hospital is a miserable place. Like a jailer, prisoner. So if you behave properly, then you will be discharged from the jail, and then you don't have to come back to this stinky, whatever, filthy prison. Now, neither the jail warden nor the prisoner, they are thinking that this is desirable place. I'm sure some of you may know who works in prison. If you ask them, you come back to the house, Why don't you stay in the prison? I don't think they even think like that, never. But if you ask him, would you mind of staying in the prison? You don't have to keep coming and going from the house. Just stay there. So similarly, I don't want to go out of here. Both of them know. Now, there's a lady, her name is Margaret. She was like a superintendent of Stark prison. From here, I think it's about 25 miles or something. And Margaret, we call Margie, she said many things. She said, first of all, after over 10 years, a lot of prisoners, they become kind of an inmate in a sense that they really start liking prison. They don't want to go. Then biggest problem is their purpose of going to prison for reformation is lost when they like it. If the prisoner trying to make the prison as a paradise and they think they will succeed and they will want to stay there, then the purpose of making prison is lost. Purpose of prison is not making a paradise. Purpose of prison is for reformation. I did wrong. I must learn how to reform myself and come out of it. But some inmate fall in love. They like to stay there. Then the purpose is lost. Same thing with this material world. Majority people, they think it's okay. Even though they are suffering, they say, okay, it's all right, I'll be okay. So, here Krishna says that if you follow the treatment, then you'll come back to me. Mamupetta. If you worship me, then you don't have to come back to this world. And Samsiddhim Paramam Gata. So these are Mahatma, I mean great soul. Prabhupada, I think Praladanda Prabhu said it was a great soul or supreme soul, something like that. Let's see. What's the translation? One of the sentence has, these are, supreme soul. Last word, last sentence. In other words, they are supreme soul. Supreme soul, in a sense that they understood and they don't want to go back there. They can stay with Krishna forever, happy, joyful. So in Sanskrit, it means Mahatma. They will attain supreme destination. Now, this is second time Bhagavad Gita uses the word Mahatma. Second time. Earlier, Krishna says 7:19, where Krishna says those who understand him to be Vasudeva. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. So there the word of Mahatma is there. These souls, the great soul Mahatma, they are very rare. So that is clearly referring to advanced devotees. It's not because the point is Mam Prapaddate. This is the key point. Means they are surrendering. Their surrender is essentially the act of bhakti. So it is referring to those Mahatmas as devotees. Here also previous verse, Bhagavad Gita again referring to Mahatma, chapter 9.13, later we'll see in the next chapter. So it will declare Mahatmas to Mam Partha Doivim Prakriti. So those who worship me, they are actually under internal potency. Because they are inner connection. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. They already understood everything is Krishna. Vasudeva. So they are referring also Mahatma is actually focusing on Krishna, not on anything else. Now, when we say this world is place of misery, is it really a place of misery? Or we need to wear glasses to see clearly? Because some people, they will say, no, this is pessimism. You know, I'm having a good time. I have a good income. I have a good house, good family, good food, good sleeping, good video, whatever. Good life. They have a magazine called Good Life. So they may not agree if you say, Krishna says this world is misery, miserable and temporary. Temporary they will agree because they have to agree. They know that they will die. But misery they may not. So question is, how is that? Like for an example, we said, I mentioned Oshodalaya in India. Oshodalaya, I saw medicine place is called Oshodalaya. Alaya means place. So there is a doctor who get her biggest check when all the villagers are healthy. More sick people, paycheck means Maya's happiness is to please Krishna. So teachers go to sadhus. Maya promoted glories of Haridas Thakur because Haridas Thakur proved this. Essentially, Bhagavad Gita statement implies that no place in this world will ever be free from misery. That's what that verse you can see. Even if we create many sophisticated arrangements for happiness, distress will creep in from somewhere. Just like that man. He was a devotee actually. Whole life he worked very hard, not much money. But then when he's old, and then he got these penny stocks from NASDAQ, internet stock, went to the market, and then he became all of a sudden $7 million assets. But then he thought he bought an expensive diamond for his wife. I think I mentioned that story because he came to the shop and was like freaking out why Krishna is doing this to him. All of a sudden, everything is good. Leukemia came in. He went to doctor. Doctor says, this is serious. You may live for 3 months. I still remember, I'm laughing, but actually it's not laughing. But that's a good example. What Krishna says is so true. So he put his briefcase on my desk and he says, why, Gobind? God would do this to me. All life I worked very hard. Finally, I got some money and now I have to die. Of course, I didn't laugh it to him, but I was thinking. But now we see that what Krishna is saying. Even if we create many sophisticated arrangements for happiness, Prabhus and mothers, old age is coming. Distress will creep in from somewhere. We will never find perfect solution. Every solution will spawn some problems. Therefore, whatever we celebrate, a solution will eventually turn out to be a trade-off. By knowing that distress is intrinsic to the world, we can avoid getting allured and misled by worldly promises that this strategy or that technology will be a panacea. Instead, we can be better prepared to face life's existential realities effectively. Bhagavad Gita does not imply that world is a place of misery alone. Rather, it implies that the world will never have a place that is fully free from misery. That's all it is. That's why those who are very thoughtful people, reading Bhagavad Gita, just like Einstein said about Bhagavad Gita, I was reading that other day. It was very nice. I don't know which version of Bhagavad Gita he read every day. He said every day he reads Bhagavad Gita. Einstein, Western scientist. But he says it's a great inspiration, I find. Every day I read. So obviously some English Bhagavad Gita was here that was giving him some kind of solace. Life may be filled with problems, but life is not a problem. This is not what Krishna is saying. We should be very carefully tuning. We face so many problems. Some people may become depressed, some even suicidal. Life itself is one big problem. I just want to end it through suicide. Some people say like this. Bhagavad Gita acknowledges that life can be filled with problems when it refers to the world as an abode of distress. So despite this starkly negative assessment of this world, Prabhupada's translation purport, overall message is eminently positive because it raises our vision from dull material problem to spiritual opportunities. In Bhagavad Gita, that at our core we are eternal soul on a multi-level journey, multi-life journey of spiritual evolution. We have been transmigrating through various species and have now finally come to the human species. And in human life, we have a consciousness that is capable of realizing our spirituality and thereby attaining life and love eternal. Now, the distress of material existence are meant to prod us towards spiritual evolution by forcefully reminding us of our incompatibility with matter, dead matter, dull matter, of the impossibility of finding enduring happiness in a world where everything is fleeting. So acknowledging life's problem-filled nature helps us in focusing on our spiritual evolution. But instead, Prabhus and mothers, if we see life itself as a problem to be finished through suicide, we err disastrously. We will incur grave reactions because of the grievous karmic choice of destroying our human body. That is precious divine gift. And moreover, we subject ourselves to spiritual devaluation. Why? For we transmigrate to existence with far lesser facility for spiritual understanding. I mean, yes, animal can eat prasadam, animal can do something, but animal can never accept philosophy or Krishna consciousness and live on it. Animal cannot take a oath or vow to chant every day. So whatever our problem, we can rise beyond them. And if we become conscious of the supreme spiritual reality, Krishna, for he is expert at fixing things externally and internally. And both the misperception that life itself is a problem and the reality that life is filled with problem can be most effectively dealt with by cultivating spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, chanting every day, following four regulative principles, like that. Okay, so we did 15. Unless someone has more things to add to it, we can go to 16.
Prabhuji, may I comment little on this
Yes.
sloka? Okay. In this sloka, Bhagavan Krishna is saying Dukhalaya asasvatam. Also, he is referring 9.33 Anityam Asukham Lokam Imam Pape Bhajasvama. So he is also giving us some advice what to do in this Dukhalaya asasvatam. Because it's a bad bargain. And we can use the best use of it by rehabilitating. Like
Yes.
So that was one thing I wanted. Another thing, as you were mentioning, so some of the people, they say, I'm so happy, actually I want to come back. This is what they say. I came across two such people here in Las Vegas. One in Texas, actually. He's a physician there. And the other one is a real estate in Las Vegas. He calls himself LV Trump. So he was saying like that. But then, I couldn't convince him. But the other guy, the physician, was a little bit, sober. So he said, I told him that, look, this material world is actually inbuilt with threefold miseries. Okay. And the Srimad Bhagavatam actually starts with a solution that tapatrayana mulanam. So he says, I am now catching your point like that. But they have this kind of firm belief that they can become happy here. This is their firm belief. And it's very difficult, especially these intellectuals. They have their own kind of theories, and they follow. Some of the times they follow this Mayavad and all that like that. So whereas against that, when I was in med school, I had a professor. He was not Professor Thakkar. He was triple FRCS surgeon, and he had other 30 diplomas. How many? 32. In language, law, literature, whatever. And he was considered a brain in our college there. This guy used to carry Bhagavad Gita in his pocket. And if you sit with near him in canteen, I will tell you so many things about Bhagavad Gita. So these are the two types of people I have come across. And, those who are fortunate, they will really get into Bhagavan Krishna's flavor. So they are Mahatmas, those who take shelter of Lord Krishna. Mahatma Rastu Mam Partha Devin Prakriti Masi. Haribol Prabhuji, thank you very much for allowing.
That's very good. That's good understanding, Prabhu. Thank you for helping them too. Hopefully your association will bring them to Krishna consciousness. Maybe they will search out, where is Pankaj Bhai? So like that. But at the same time, this sloka actually does not discourage material solution to the problems. We are not saying that, this world is miserable. That doesn't mean we're discouraging people. I hope people don't understand that way, but they can. Because some people, I saw that some people actually ask why Bhagavad Gita states that world is a place of misery. Does that mean we can never avoid misery? That we should not even try to avoid it? People speculate. Not at all. Actually, not at all. Like Gita identified disease as one of life's unavoidable distress. 13th chapter, when we come there, we'll see. Yet the Gita is the key text in a broader Vedic tradition that give rise to Ayurveda, the Vedic science of medicine. And passively suffering the distress of disease is in Gita tradition's teaching. So previously, chapter 4, I remember it was stressing the need for establishing dharma. The famous verses, even most of the Hindus knows. Jada jada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata. Like even in the movie and the other places, they put those verses. So Gita, Bhagavad Gita actually inspires. It inspires Arjuna to fight war for destroying the vicious Kauravas who had unscrupulously grabbed power. Now, Arjuna did not see in the Gita any directive to passively suffer the Kauravas' inequity, you can say. He did not read such a directive because Gita does not contain any such directive. Neither it is in setting or its substance. Bhagavad Gita does reject the pursuit of pleasure in this world. I hope you all heard me that. As life's defining purpose. Deeming such life conception demoniac. Overall, it acknowledges the role of countering avoidable distresses in this world. And it asserts the necessity of raising our consciousness to the spiritual level. And that's why Bhagavad Gita, better tolerating and eventually transcending the world's distresses. That's what Bhagavad Gita promotes. Krishna told to Arjuna, Matra Sparsastu Konte, so many verses like that. So whatever pleasure or pain comes inevitably during our lives, as we strive to live responsibly and grow spiritually, the Bhagavad Gita urges us to accept the equanimity and without losing our focus on spirituality. What does that mean? Means that the world is a place of misery doesn't mean we do nothing to counter misery in this world. Like, it was cold in Alachua last whole month and we put heater on. It's not like we are saying, okay, Krishna says, Dukkalayam, this world is misery, let us suffer. No, Krishna didn't say that way. We have to understand it properly. We put on heater in winter and in summer, cooler, like that. It means that we don't restrict our measures of countering misery to this world alone. That's what boils down. So let's do one more verse. I think we can do 8:16. Anyone would like to read 8 chapter 16?
I could do it, but Prabhu, Hare
Yes.
Krishna,
Go ahead, Mata.
Hari Bol. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna Mam Upetya Tu Kaunteya Punar Janma Na Vidyate. Brahma Bhuvana. Up to the Brahma Loka planet. Loka, the planetary systems. Puna, again. Avartina means returning. Arjuna, O Arjun. Mam, unto me. Upateya, arriving. Tu, but. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Punajanma, rebirth. Na, never. Vidyate, takes place. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. And purpose, all kinds of yogis, karma, gyan, Hatha Yoga, etc., eventually have to attain devotional perfection in Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and never return back. Here, those who attain the highest material planets, the planets of the demigods, are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people on higher planets such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and Indraloka fall down to earth. The practice of sacrifice, called the Panchagni Vidya, recommended in the Chandogya Upanishad, enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if on Brahmaloka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. Those who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. Sridhar Swami, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, quotes this verse: Brahmana sahate sarve samprapte prati sankachare parashante kritatmana pravichanti param padam. When there is devastation of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. Haribol.
Very nice. So let's talk a few minutes on this. Okay. Let me see the verse again. A Brahma Bhuvana Luka Punar Abortina Arjuna Mam Upetta Tukunteya Punar Janma Na Vidyate. Punar Janma Na Vidyate. Very sweet. Now Krishna is actually contrasting between temporary world and eternal world. The destination which one can get by worshipping him, and destination one can get by not worshipping him. That means this analysis is served as the impetus for fixing mind on Krishna. So fix the mind on Krishna, you will get wonderful result. Don't fix the mind on Krishna, then what happens? We have to stay on miserable material world. The temporariness of the material world is talked on from, you'll see after a few verses, next section also onwards. Now, here, A Brahma Bhuvana Luka means from topmost planetary system in this universe, Brahma Loka. Right up to the planet of Brahma, from here or even lowest, there is a Tala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala. There are 7 planets below these planets, and above is 7. Bhuloka, this one, Bhuvar Loka, ghost, subtle elements, then heavenly planets, Sargaloka, then Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Sattaloka. So 7 above, 7 below makes it 14 planetary system. So Krishna is saying here 2 paths with 2 destinations. In material world, the highest destination is Brahmaloka. If someone gets best result apart from the bhakti, they can go to Brahmaloka. But even that is temporary. Therefore, that will not give us eternal result. Only worshipping Krishna will give us eternal result. It's very clear. This verse is very nice. That's why. So now question may come, that some people consider Brahma to be eternal. So is it eternal? No, it is not. This verse says this, Brahma bhuvana loka. Even Brahma loka, punaravati. You have to come down. It is actually temporary. Abode, Brahma's abode is within material world. As the lifespan of the universe is same as lifespan of Brahma. Because after his 100 years, the whole universe gets dissolves. So when Brahmaji leaves his body, that time his abode also vanished. And universe is also destroyed. You are disappointed. You are back to zero. You will be at the soul entering into the Mahavishnu's body. So Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport that Mother Padma Devi just read, the Panchagni, one can attain Brahmaloka. But because Brahmaloka is temporary, one cannot stay there, not long. So now Srila Prabhupada quotes, interestingly, Sridhar Swami from commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Brahmana sahate sarve samprapte prati sanchare parashrante kritatmanaha pravishanti parampadam. Pravishanti parampadam. So Brahmana sahate sarve, Brahmaji along with his associates, sarve, samprapte prati sanchare. Those who are engaged, parashante kritatmanaha. This verse says kritatmanaha. Means they attain the supreme abode, ultimate destination. So he is making the point that in some cases, if Brahmaji is a pure devotee, the associate of Brahmaji becomes pure also, pure enough to go back to spiritual world. Then at the time of the destruction of the universe, then they need not have to come back. They can continue on whatever devotional service they will practicing in Brahmaloka. And at the destruction of the universe, they continue that by making transfer to the spiritual world. And they continue practicing devotional service. This can happen, but this does not necessarily happen all the time. The point here is even Brahma's abode, if one is practicing Krishna consciousness constantly, then this will happen. Now, doesn't Brahmaji and his associate practice Krishna consciousness? You may be thinking or you may be asking. Yes, they do, but Brahmaji and heavenly planets are not primarily places of bhakti. They are places of pious credit, like punya karma. Pious credit or piety, punya and bhakti are not the same. Those who do punya attain sarga. And sargavasis do jagna, they live righteous life. So by the righteous living, they are in accord with whatever expected of the heavenly residents. But that righteous living is not bhakti. Indra is watching. Apsaras dancing. He is enjoying. That he is not bhakti. This is not bhakti yoga. That is bhoga yoga. No, I cannot say even yoga. I should say bhoga. Bhoga is not considered sinful because he has done punya before, so he's enjoying the result. But after punya is over, he or she will be forced to turn back. That is a rightful enjoyment while they are. So actually what is getting, there is a result of the past punya. Generally, the residents of heaven don't perform bhakti. Exactly, not unalloyed bhakti. It is like too much of enjoyment available. They are to do unalloyed bhakti. Suppose we are doing japa in the morning and magnificent feast is brought right in front of us. You know, halwa, pakora, sweet rice, I don't know, all these cheese sabji and everything, feast, while you are chanting. We are told now chant you 60 now, and one rule is there, you cannot take your eyes off the plate. You have to keep looking at the plate and you have to chant attentively. Just thinking that metaphor. Because I was just thinking, I was studying about heaven one time a lot, like what is really there. Nobody said the end path of every person enter there. They only talk about during. Just like a Jane Austen, a Nobel writer in America. One Maharaj, Ridanda Maharaj, he said he was interviewing her because he was writing some book. He wanted to know something. He said, why did you write only about preliminary engagement to the wedding? And after wedding, you never wrote any book. She replied, after wedding, it's not attractive anymore. It's either disappoint or frustrated, anyway. So she said, but the preliminary, or you can say preparation for the wedding, is all excitement, and after that. So it's very interesting. So, of course, the original idea was that wherever you are in this planet, you do some practice, and then eventually you go to higher planet, higher planet, higher planet, higher planet, higher planet, and then eventually you land on Brahmalok. And end of Brahma's life, if Brahmaji remains still pure, then you go to spiritual world. But one place I read, I forgot where it is. It says that actually after that he goes to the Brahman, the merging idea. I was like a little scared, not happy about it. But then Bhagavatam says that he will enter into Vaikuntha. But then you don't know exactly what you're going to get. Not much details given. But to go to Golok Vrindavan, you don't have to wait for 311 trillion years. 311 trillion is not a one day. It's a whole life. Every 12 hours is 4,320,000,000. Is 12 hours. So if you calculate time 100. No, time 2. 12 hours, 24 hours is one day. Time 360. Time 100 is 311 trillion. So from that angle, we can look at it. That pay little price as a human on this planet right now, become pure devotee and get out forever, eternally happy with God, Krishna, in spiritual world. Why you have to go for little here, little there, and then go to Brahmaloka, and then, you may make it, you may not make it. There's no guarantee, and you have to wait that long. But this is only little fraction of a time. Our 100 years is nothing really, compared to Brahmaji's 4,320,000,000 is only 12 hours. You'll be like frustrated. When I'm going to Krishna Loka? We don't know. Anyway, so 628. Any further discussion or any question, comments, take away?
Again, I am there, Prabhuji. A small comment here.
Yeah.
Regarding the Punya Karma, I had this kind of dialogue with Prabhuji, who was giving lecture at Juhu, Bombay on Zoom. And he asked me, if you do Punya Karma, will you reach Lord Krishna? Then I said, Punya Karma, in my opinion, there are two types. One is Karma Kandi, kind of Punya Karma, and the other one is Bhakti Unmukha, and that's where we sing this slogan, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srunvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Sravan Kirtan. That Punya Sravan Kirtana, that is hearing Lord Krishna is also punya, but that is bhakti actually. So that any punya karma which is dedicated to Lord Krishna, yat karosi adasnasya jyosi dadasya, that converts into bhakti. So that will take us to other route, not the route of gata gatam that of karma kand, gata gatam labhte. That's a slope in 9th chapter like that. So that's where he agreed that that's punya. I mean punya karma is not only the one which is only of karma kind. It's also bhakti unmukhi punya karma we can do like that. So this was little thing I learned from him.
Yeah. This Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti comes from 4 sources. There's a beautiful verse actually Rupa Goswami Pad gives. Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangyana Parijayate Satsanga Prapate Kumbir Sukriti Purva Sanchiteri. Said 4 Evam Prabhu Priyanamcha Dhamnascha Samayascha. So Prabhu means anything related to Krishna and anything related to devotees, anything related to pastimes and holy dham. But it has to be connected with devotee. Even Krishna. Because many people met Krishna, not necessarily they have any bhakti. They didn't get bhakti. Bhakti comes only from the bhakta, one who has bhakti. So you are right. So that's separate than mundane piety or mundane, digging well, serving the old people, whatever. They have some idea, Red Cross and all this. But even that material piety, Prabhu, it's a little scary because I remember I asked those 2 girls that came to collect some donation from me. I said, what are you going to do? I remember that time, they said they're going to buy a lot of hot dog and from helicopter, they're going to throw all this tsunami area. So I said, you want to go to hell and you want to take me to the hell. I don't think I'm attracted to this proposal. And the other girl says, what is that all about? I said, you are involved in violence activity. Hot dog is a violence activity. Killing cow. Obviously, you have to face the reaction. And then, if I give donation for that, I have to also suffer for that. And then people who eat, they also have to suffer it. I don't know who is benefiting. Is that really piety? No, it's not a pious activity at all. It's a horrible, deadly danger. And people who eat cow, hot dog, they will go to hell. People who are collecting for that, they will go to hell. People who give donation, they will go to hell. I mean, who is winning? I didn't see anybody winning. So thank you for pushing that. Yes. Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti is different, definitely. Thank you. Any other? Otherwise, we can close here and looking forward to see you all next Wednesday. Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarva Sukhipa Sindhave Chapatitanam Pavane Vaishnave Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.